But it all started on a seemingly ordinary day when my wife informed me that she would be home soon after her shift at Walmart, where she was an assistant manager. Her workday was supposed to end at 7 p.m., but when the clock struck midnight, she still wasn't home. Concerned, I tried to contact her through calls and texts, but no response. I decided to go to her place of work to check on things. I needed to go to the Walmart convenience store, which was about 20 minutes away. Upon arriving at the Walmart, I saw her car in the parking lot. As I got closer, I saw that there was no one in the car. I parked my car and walked into the store, heading towards her department. I looked around the room but didn't see her or anyone else. The store seemed empty. A few of her coworkers noticed me and greeted me, and I responded to them. After that, I headed to the back of the Walmart store. I'd assumed that she had to stay late during her shift. With that thought in mind, I headed to the back of Walmart and entered the break room, but did not see my wife. Continuing my search, I went to where the merchandise is unloaded from the trucks, but she wasn't there either. Returning to the main entrance, I noticed her coming out of one of the side exits of the Walmart. She was accompanied by a man. They walked hand in hand, heading towards his car and parking lot. My heart raced, but I knew I had to pull myself together. At her inception, I spiked the surge of emotion. I instinctively reached for my phone and started taking photos. Without saying a word, I kept a safe distance. I decided to follow where they were headed. They walked over to his white SUV, got in it, and drove across the parking lot. The man stopped next to my wife's car, and she got out and took something from her car. As soon as they drove away, I quickly headed to my car, which was parked some distance away, and decided to follow them further. Their first stop was a gas station. They both went inside briefly and got back in the car, then drove on. After pulling into the gas station, I lost sight of them for about 10 minutes due to dense traffic preventing me from getting close to the turnaround point. Fortunately, luck was on my side this time. After about another 15 minutes or so, I managed to catch up with them again. He ended up directing the car into the parking lot of the hotel, more specifically the Econo Lodge. He picked a spot not far from the hotel lobby. Both of them got out of the car and walked into the lobby, and I followed them. Estimated how long it took, got the license plate, and calculated the remaining time of her shift. According to her, she was supposed to finish at 7 p.m. These thoughts swarmed in my head, and my anxiety grew. What did you want with my wife? Her time was passing, and I was getting more and more angry and nervous. I stayed close enough to be able to keep following them if they went somewhere else. And all the while, I noticed that she was talking to him as they walked towards the room. The hotel sign said the check-in time was 3 p.m. and the checkout time was 11 a.m. However, it was now 1:30 a.m., and there was no one coming out of their rooms. There were about 5 people in the hotel lobby, all sitting engrossed in watching TV. When the door swung open, I noticed that both of them were still fully dressed. After they entered, the door closed with a click. At that moment, I kind of froze in place. Should I burst in and knock on the door? But I didn't. Instead, I sent her a text message with a picture and video of them holding hands and walking into the hotel lobby. Then I got in my car and drove home, thinking I'd like to forget the whole thing like a bad dream. Later, my wife came home too, and the barrage of questioning began. As for when asked why I was following her, I replied, "You said you finished work at 7 p.m. I don't think we should discuss this. I have decided to separate and intend to file for divorce." Stunned, she became speechless at my words. Then she asked, "Can we talk?" To which I firmly replied, "No, there is nothing to discuss. I have proof of your infidelity, and the only thing you can do is to leave."
In response, she said, "I have nowhere to go."
I held up my hands and replied, "That's not my problem. If you decide to stay here, I'll change all the locks so you can't get in. Start looking for a new place to live. In the meantime, I intend to go to bed since I've been up all night." Now our paths have parted. She leaves and I walk to my bedroom. When I woke up, I noticed that almost all of her clothes were gone. I looked out the window and saw her car was not in its usual place. I figured she must have entered the apartment while I was sleeping. At this point, I contacted several attorneys to consult about the divorce process. I was getting ready to start divorce proceedings. I contacted one attorney who gave me some somewhat disappointing news. He informed me that under Virginia law, in order to file for a no-fault divorce, we must have lived apart for at least 1 year. He then clarified, "Have you and your wife been living separately for a year or more? It could take a long time and there would be a lot of expense." I asked the attorney a question. What about a separation agreement? He informed me that the state of Virginia does not have specific laws on separation agreements. The option is that I can either file for a no-fault divorce or a no-fault divorce. After speaking with the attorney, I decided to file for divorce. My wife was absent and I was unable to serve her with the necessary papers. Therefore, my only option was to go to court and file a petition. My wife called on the phone and asked if she could come home. I replied, "You can come back, but you have to realize that I am filing for divorce and my position remains unchanged." She said she had nowhere to go. I also suddenly realized that I don't have the means to initiate a divorce right now. I informed her, "For now, you can use the guest bedroom." A few weeks passed, and I visited my attorney's office and filed for divorce. Afterward, I contacted my wife and informed her that I had filed for divorce. She responded by asking if things could be fixed. I told her that there were no options for reconciliation because of everything that had happened. I made it clear that there would be no forgiveness and the possibility of another chance. I couldn't accept that she cheated right in front of me. The image of this betrayal lingered in my mind for a long time. I tried to understand the reasons behind her act, especially considering the vows we had taken to each other as spouses and the promises of fidelity. At first, I wanted to salvage what we had, but the gravity of this transgression overrode everything. At this point, she started crying and apologizing, saying she couldn't imagine life without me. I told her that it was impossible to get our relationship back. "You betrayed me. After her cheating, I would rather be alone than spend time with you." I told her you can use the guest bedroom temporarily until you find a place of your own. In response, she said, "I can't find one." I then told her, "You have options. Go to your parents, go to the guy you cheated on me with, or save up for your own place." She starts talking about the guy she cheated on me with, stating I'm not seeing him anymore. At this point, her emotions took over, and she sobbed, begging me to explain why I'm putting her through this, and that there was no way she expected me to take that step. In response, I said, "You have to realize that your actions led to these circumstances. The consequences are a result of your choices." The conversation ended with us yelling at each other. A few hours later, my wife's car occupies one of our assigned parking spaces. Breaking into the house, I see her sitting on the couch, talking on the phone. She ends the conversation, looks at me, and asks, "Can we talk?" I reply, "Didn't we just yell at each other? What is there to discuss when the divorce process is already in motion?" She then asks, should we try seeing a counselor? I met her gaze and replied, "No, I don't need counseling. However, you probably do. Let me be clear, you cheated on me and no counseling will change that." I asked her to refrain from talking as I was not in the mood. But to me, she was already a thing of the past, even though the divorce wasn't formalized yet. In response, she cried and retreated to the guest bedroom. Meanwhile, I headed to my bedroom and put my work bag on the bed. I returned to the couch to gather my thoughts. The pain in me has yet to subside, but on the bright side, I can now start my life over again. Fortunately, we have no children or financial obligations. You see, I was about ready to surprise her on our anniversary with a trip to the Bahamas, but now I'm relieved that I don't have to spend any money on it. I'm trying to figure out what actions on my part caused her to give up 9 years of our marriage for fleeting encounters with a man of little value. It baffles me that she traded our relationship for a brief affair with an underachiever who still lives with his parents. The pace of this divorce process seems agonizingly slow to me, all things considered. All I want to do is move on to the next chapter of my life as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. Click like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until next time, I'll see you again. Take care.